We have such an unbalanced understanding of Christianity and the ways of God here in America today. If you were to go, if they had bookstores 200 years ago, Christian bookstores, you would have gone into those bookstores and you would have discovered that almost all those books were either written on the attributes of God, or they were written on what is the true biblical gospel, or they would have been written on how do you discern biblical conversion, or they would have been written on the process of sanctification in the believer's life. You walk into a bookstore today, Christian bookstore, and see, you'd be hard-pressed to find one book given to those topics. And then you look at the gospel of Jesus Christ, and what have we done with it? We've reduced it down to 4 spiritual laws, 5 things God wants you to know, and then what we do is we give somebody a 5-minute presentation of the gospel, we pronounce them born again because they've made some human decision, and then we go on to deeper things. Deeper things. There is nothing deeper than the gospel of Jesus Christ. Absolutely nothing. Let me just prove the point. Much speculation today on the book of Revelation, the second coming, and all sorts of things like that. The day Jesus Christ comes back, you're going to understand the book of Revelation. The day Jesus Christ comes back, your eschatology is going to be absolutely perfect. But though you spend an eternity of eternities in heaven, you are still not going to comprehend the gospel of Jesus Christ. This message, above all messages, we've reduced to a few things that someone, if they nod their head to those things we mention, in the end we say they've heard the gospel, and if they make a decision in favor of that, we pronounce them born again. And then we take them on to deeper things, and we wonder why we have to chase them around. We wonder why they won't grow. We wonder why, and we invest money after money after money in discipleship programs and discipleship programs. And in reality, what we're doing is we're trying to train a bunch of goats so that they'll act like sheep. My dear friend, I have done personal discipleship. I believe in discipleship, but I want you to understand something. Most personal discipleship is done today because the people are not born again. And even among people who are born again, most of them are being discipled because the pulpit's so weak. You get a man standing in a pulpit preaching for an hour each time, twice a week. You get a man in that pulpit preaching that way, and that'll be enough truth to carry them for a month. The pulpit's nothing anymore. So we raise up boys to disciple other boys. Now, I want us to go to understand something. Today in America, the battle is not over the second coming of Jesus Christ. The battle is not over the length of the cloth on the communion table. The battle is over what is the gospel and how do men get saved. There are no bridges to build between the two camps. There are no truces to be sought after. We are dealing with the gospel. And whether someone preaches it correctly or not. And if they do not, they do not. We have so cowered. We have come to believe that the fellowship of men is more important than the glory of God. Preachers that will stand up in their churches and go on because the great majority of their membership is carnal. And so they'll seek with every power in their Bible to please the carnal majority so that they won't lose them, while that one remnant that truly belongs to Christ, they let them languish and starve. It's like if my wife was at Walmart at 11 at night and 2 men were raping her in the parking lot and you walked by, but because you did not want to cause a stir or hurt anybody's feelings, you let them trouse my wife. I'd find you and beat you to the end of your life. And for the sake of trying to keep a bunch of carnal, wicked people who don't love Jesus, we let the sheep of God starve to death. Those who truly belong to Him. And we have got to get back to 2 specific things. One of them is what is the gospel, which I'm not going to deal with today. probably tomorrow. But we need to get back to what is salvation. Salvation. Because of the little tracts that have been developed by men who do not know theology, because of the evangelists who hardly study their Bibles, because of church growth movements that are based upon Wall Street marketing schemes, we have forgot to realize that the gospel of Jesus Christ is more than just a few things God wants you to know. And we have forgotten that men are not converted by being convinced, manipulated, or brought in gradually to our community of faith. Men are converted by a supernatural work of God that demonstrates more of the power of God than the very creation of the universe.